What's good, guys? This your boy Steven. Just coming here to tell y'all a bunch of old work stories. Um, I remember back when I was in high school, they had they had this work program where you got like 3 credit hours or something like that, and after your like when you went to the class, you would sit in there and you would learn work related things like how to like balance a budget and different things applied to like owning your own business and things. But the major reason you got 3 credits instead of one in high school was because you actually worked. So we would actually have to go out and find a job, and the requirements were like you had to work like 15 hours a week was all you had to work. But some of us would have the opportunity, like we got hired on like full time and things like that. So I got hired on full time at it's a dollar store right across the street from my school. It was called Fred's. I'm sure a lot of you've heard of Fred's before. So, I'll skip all that. Well, I had been trying to get hired there forever. And finally, I like dressed up in a suit, went in, did a little interview, and they finally called. They called the school and told them that they were going to hire me because of the suit. So that's always a plus if you're trying to get a job. Make sure you dress for success, and you'll more than likely get it. But anyway, so I worked there for like 2 years. The first year, it was just horrible. Like I would tell them, like I'm not even supposed to be working this many hours. I only need 15, and they told me that basically they'll give me any hours that they want, and I have to work it. And I was like, well, that's not what the school says. And they were like, well, this is what I say. So it's either you take this or nothing. So, of course, I've been working there a while, so I've got a cell phone now. I'm paying for my car insurance, I'm paying for gas. So I need the job, which I made like $300 every 2 weeks, something like that. Because this is back when minimum wage was like $5.15 or something. So you didn't make a lot. And so I'm there, and I'm so unhappy, but school's over with, nobody's hiring just yet, so I'm coming back for my senior year, and I take that class again just to get my grade point average up, which I think was like a 3.4, so I'm trying to get it up higher than that, for college and stuff. So I go back, and I'm working at the dollar store still, and I tell this lady, I'm like, look, this is a new school year. I want to have more time off. It's my senior year. I want to, go to school a little bit, work a little bit, and then enjoy my life, because after that I'm going to college. Well, excuse me. She doesn't want to hear that. She's like, no, you're going to work what we give you. That's going to be it. And then one time I called in because I just needed a day off, and I told him, I was like, we're going to see my grandma in the hospital or something like that. And she wasn't in the hospital. Or she was, but we didn't go see her. And what ended up messing it up is my dad actually came in that day, and they knew him, and they were like, oh, I thought y'all were in, a different city seeing his grandma or something. I was like, oh no, we didn't go. He couldn't lie for me or something, like I would have obviously known something was going on and just, made something up, but he told the truth. So they came on the intercom the next day at school, and basically like over the intercom in my class, and said, so and so Stephen, it needs to report to work today, has to report to work today. And the entire class started laughing. I was like, what was that about, man? Like, you not going to work? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've been going. I called in one day, and I'm like, I think that's real shady for them to announce it over the intercom or something. But that's not a work problem, a school thing. But anyway, so I go back to school. I go back to work. I'm sorry, and my manager comes up to me first thing and is like, well, we're not gonna have all this calling in, making up stuff things. And it's like, if you don't come to work every day that I write down, and stay every hour, like even if I call you, whatever, like in the middle of the night, and you have to drive up here to come stock stuff, like you better come or I'm going to fail you in your class, because we got a grade from working. Most of the time the teacher didn't check, she just gave us A's. But she supposed to check with our boss and say how are they doing, are they showing up, things like that. And if they, everybody was like, oh yeah, they're good. We got A's is what they're supposed to do, but they never checked. But this lady told me she would make it a point. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call for some reason. She would make it a point to go in and make sure that I failed the class. Get up just a second. I got some food cooking. So I knew right then. I was like, look, I'm done with this. They're gonna try to fail me. I'm done. Screw that. So yeah, they had called and were just like, well, the lady basically just said, hey, you're gonna fail. So I knew right then. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna put up with this. This is too much. This is jeopardizing my chances to go to college, things like that. Because I mean, if they called and reported you and said you're not doing what you need to do, you get an F, like that's gonna drop your GPA really bad, especially like a 3-credit class. It's like failing 3 classes. So I just was like, look, I gotta find another job. But in the program I was in for that class, you couldn't quit your job unless you had prior approval. So then they don't let you quit your class or quit your job. So I was like, well, look, I'm gonna have to do something underhanded and try to figure this out. So a guy I used to work with called me and was like, hey, I have a job opening where I'm at. Basically the same thing as retail. It's just we get paid a lot more. We don't make minimum wage. We get paid more. You work 5 days a week, and then every other Saturday, and the Saturday's only like 4 hours. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's do that. So I talked to the guy. The guy was like, yeah, man, we want you to come in and start next Friday or something like that. And I was like, well, can I start tomorrow or something? And he was like, oh yeah, we can go ahead and get you started, get you training and stuff. So I had to go to work that same day. So I left there, went to work, and then I left my notice or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put my notice and tell them like, look, I'm no longer in the class, so that today is my last day. And they confronted me about it and was like, I didn't know you could quit the class in the middle of a semester or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, you can do that. This isn't like a math or a science or something like that, which I lied. You can't. I stayed in the class. I was just like, they're not going to relay the message, I don't think. And they never did. I quit, went to this other job, loved the other job for a while, and I stayed in there, graduated, and then probably 4 months after I graduated, this lady called me and found out I did not work at the dollar store anymore because she was doing her paperwork or something. And she was just like, oh, how long have you been working there? And I didn't want to lie to her and, tell her I did her dirty or nothing. But I was like, well, I was working both jobs. Then I just, eventually just gave up one, because it wasn't as good as this other one. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad you got a good mindset and you didn't quit before you had another job. And, so it all worked out. But, when this lady basically told me that if I didn't do what she wanted, she was going to fail me in school, I had to just be her bitch, basically. Dude, I was done with that. I advise anybody, if you ever get in that type of situation, just leave. Try to find you something first, because I know money and jobs are hard to come by, especially nowadays. But just don't let people do that to you. That's just so wrong. I mean, some of you got families to feed. I had to pay a few bucks a month, maybe $200 is all I needed a month. Even if that, I probably didn't even need that, because I could have got my parents to pay for my car insurance. We could have let the car sit up; it wouldn't have mattered. So I didn't really need any money. So, but yeah, that was my story of my second job I ever had. The first job I worked in a cornfield, but it wasn't terrible. I made pretty good money. But yeah, I'm gonna be having just a few random videos from time to time, just kind of discussing what happened in my life, and different things I want to talk about. Not really, I don't really care about views and stuff. I just want to put things out there. But if you happen to see the video, you happen to make it this far, I'm surprised if anybody does. But if you do, man, leave me some comments and tell me about your jobs. Tell me, some crazy things that's happened, or crazy things in life. If you got any videos you want me to make, talk about anything, I can. It don't matter. But man, it's your boy Steven, man. So holler at you.